Hello and welcome to another episode of the Amateur Footballer Extra Time podcast. Today we have a special guest. It's Ten Hag's Army, aka Ash. How are you today, mate?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing?
Good man. And good-looking chap as ever, Doc. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. How the devil are we?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate.
Very
I'm
well,
glad
thank
you're
you,
all
man.
right. Let's get straight into it, guys. England make it through to the quarterfinals. Less than convincing again, in my opinion. Ash, let's start with you, mate. It makes one change again. What do you think is going wrong? Where do you think it's going wrong?
For me, I think obviously it's Southgate. It's a typical Southgate move where we say we've had a bad game, we've had three bad group games, and the actual final factor of it is actually that he thinks that one change is credible enough for the whole shift and whole culture of the team to change, which is not going to happen. Obviously, we need full back reinforcements in my eyes, like in terms of personnel change. Trippier's not cutting it on the left. Maybe a Joe Gomez, someone of that caliber who can actually play on the left. And Bellingham in the 10 is just not working for me personally.
Yeah, Doc. What are you saying, mate?
Well. Another really, really underwhelming performance for me. Nothing to get excited about at all. Literally the greatest escape since Houdini. What more can I say? There wasn't many positives that I can get excited about. I didn't get off my seat once until Jude popped up with a moment of magic. Luckily for us, 3 minutes of action settled the game and got us through. But other than that, not much to sing about at all. And the fact that we've lost Guille in the next game, I think he's going to be a big loss. I generally do think that. I know that you're all probably thinking, oh, that's because he supports Palace. But I just think that he will be a big loss. I think he's literally stood up and been held accountable in that England team. I think he can really hold his head up high. And I just think that making a change there at this time of a competition can be a bit risky. And I just think that now we've got Jude as well being questioned and potentially maybe getting a one-game ban. And let's be honest, if he is going to get a one-game ban, we need it now. We don't want to go through and then lose him. Like I said, there's more negatives than positives for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I found it very hard to watch, mate, to be honest with you. As you said, there was no really moments where you got off your chair and thought, oh, he was unlucky there, or thought Foden looked all right. But I'm real damn beat about this England side, and we should be upbeat. We was all excited coming into this tournament about this England squad. And again, substitutions, what are you making of these substitutions and the timings of them? Like, Ivan Toney leaves till 91st minute. Ash, what? I don't know. Should he be making these substitutions earlier?
100%. He's got to be making these substitutes for me within the 60 to 70th minute period, because what good is 3 minutes to come off the bench and cause an impact? Make an impact on the game. And obviously, it's just the timings of the substitutions that I'm not liking. Like obviously the game that we played against Slovakia, for me, they should have been at least two changes at half time. This literally should have just been two changes to change, the dynamic of the midfield, because the midfield was shot. We were all over the place, and especially from full back to midfield, there's no cohesion, no team effort really. From what I saw, it was all men against boys.
Yeah. Doc, your man finally gets on the pitch. Eze, what did you make of his performance, mate?
I was quite impressed with Eze with regards to, he's one player that, we question these players and we question whether they're performing the way they perform for their club. Eze, for me, doesn't matter what shirt he puts on, he plays the game his way. He does what he does best. And he literally came on and, he took it with him. He took it to them, was what I meant to say, sorry. And for me personally, I just think it showed a bit more balance on that left-hand side. I'm not suggesting Eze changed the game himself. I just think it changed the balance and the dynamics of the team. With regards to 90-minute subs and 89-minute subs, for me, it was very easy for Southgate to just chuck these players on because it was desperation. I generally don't think that he was chucking them on with a game plan. I don't buy into the nonsense of what Tony said about, oh, me and Kane had a chat before the game. Yeah, sure. I don't buy into that at all. He literally chucked them on there and he threw the dice. He was a man, literally, without a plan, desperate, hoping for a miracle, and he got it. You know, not everyone's numbers come up in the lottery once, and these numbers come up. But I'm not buying this Southgate masterstroke and, you know, I sent him on with a minute to go, telling him that this could be his time to shine. Like, give over, Gareth, mate. We're not buying into it. You lost me when you said we've been missing Calvin Phillips, mate. Like, I don't buy into your... I nearly swore then. I don't buy into it.
I think it's hard, isn't it? How can you buy into a comment like that when you're sticking on a striker with a minute to go? What's to say we're going to create a chance within that minute for him to shine? I generally think he's lost the plot, mate. I really do. I was interested to see that when we went 3 at the back with Saka left wing back. I thought that was interesting, and then all of a sudden he put Eze at left wing back, and we look vulnerable again. And that's no disrespect to Eze, is it? He's not a left wing back. He's never played there in his life. What did you make of that sort of transition when he put Saka back on the right wing, but put Eze at left wing back? What did you make of that transition, Ash? Let's start with you on this one.
Like I say, there's no criticism towards Eze. It's not his position, but I thought having Saka there, we looked a little bit more solid from that left hand side, like from cover, from their players trying to expose Saka on that side. Obviously, when Eze then got moved into that position, then I say we looked a little bit vulnerable. Yeah, like I say, I've got no positives to say about Gareth Southgate.
What did you make of seeing your boy Eze play left wing better, mate?
I couldn't believe my eyes. I genuinely couldn't believe my eyes. It reminded me of when Andy Johnson was taken to England and we played left wing. It's like, what are you doing? He's a number 10. He's a number 10. Have you not watched him all year? Does he know something that I don't know? Like, has he seen something I haven't seen? I've never, ever seen Eze even really go out to the left-hand side, let alone play left back. Like, what are you doing? Do you not understand that you see those other 10 geezers behind you sitting on that bench? They're not waiting for a bus. They're waiting for an opportunity. You've got defenders there. They defend. You've got Gomez that's a left back. If you want to shore things up with a defender. Like, at least if there's a mistake that comes from a Gomez there, you can go, well, it's one of them things. But imagine if Eze would have given a penalty away or something. Like, whose fault's that? Whose fault is that?
Well, he got beat at a far post, didn't he, in the first half of extra time, didn't he? Bless him. No, it's no fault of his own. But yeah, half it was absolutely outrageous. That I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I generally couldn't. I thought
Southgate was going to get changed at one point. I had to look over, and I honestly thought he was going to get his kit on. I thought, hang on, he really has lost the plot. He's gone back to 1996. He's gone back to 1996. He wants another pop at the penalties. Here he comes. Crazy.
I want to move on to our one change, and I want to get your boys' opinion on it. Kobe Mainoo, what did you make of his performance, and do you think he settled in? Ash, your boy, Man United, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I thought he had a very, very good game. Like, I'm not gonna sort of put too much praise on him because everyone will say that I'm being biased, whatever else, but I thought he had a good game. I thought he was the outstanding midfielder in that midfield. The way he sort of drops in, picks the ball up on the half turn. They say he's always looking and scanning, the pitch just to see who's around him, whether he's being pressed. But no, I thought he had a very good game. To be fair with you.
What did you make of Mainoo's performance yesterday?
I don't think he had a very good game, if I'm totally honest with you. I've seen him have some really, really good games where he's really taken it to the opposition. That being said, I do think he was the standout performer in that midfield, and I do think that he is the answer in there. If we've tried Trent, it's not worked. We've tried Gallagher, it's not worked. Mainu is the only one that looks like he could be the answer to that question. I like the fact that he was taking people on and he was giving it a go. Like I said, I don't blame Mainu at all. None of this is against Mainu. We haven't got the runners on the left side and the right side for the Mainus or the Trents to play their natural game. So, like I said, I'm not criticising Mainu at all. I just want to be real. I just want to be realistic. I don't think he was like the Mainu that we've seen at Man United, where he's cropped up with a couple of goals and stuff like that. I don't think he looked like that. But then again, like I said, it's not his fault. So I'm not going to chuck players under the bus like a Mainu or a Trent when they haven't got the runners and they haven't got the people making the runs that are literally helping them out, you know?
Yeah, I didn't think he was that great either, Doc, to be honest with you. But then, as you say, I did think he was the best of a bad bunch. So it's hard, isn't it? Because we've changed that position 3 times in the last 3 games and it's just not seemed to work. Anyone has been put in there, and I'm just at the point now, just put anyone in there. I'm really not bothered anymore. Stick Walton in there, see what he can do alongside Mainu. Do you know what I mean?
I'd love to see that.
But it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But listen, Jude's under investigation, obviously, for his antics, his goal celebration, so they say. What do you reckon the outcome could be, and do you think we'll miss him in the next round, Ash?
To be honest with you, I'm a big advocate for Jude, but I think generally it could actually work to Southgate's plan to a certain degree, where Foden can actually play in his natural position, whereas we can stick with Kobbie Mainoo and actually have an Anthony Gordon on the left and actually have players playing in their right position, which will give us a lot more opportunity down the flanks. And of course, in that 10 role where Foden can express himself, and we can potentially get the best out of Foden, which will get more out of Kane.
Yeah. Doc, do you think with him bringing on Tony yesterday, do you think that he potentially is now looking at a 2 up front for the next one?
No.
If Bellingham is suspended?
No. Personally speaking, Southgate has got a plan A. So I think he'd still play Bellingham even if he is suspended, to be honest, because I think he would be so reluctant to make a change. He'll be like, absolutely not. No, I'm playing him. Like it or lump it, he's starting. I can't be changing. No, but all jokes aside, I don't think Tony is there. I don't think we've taken 3 strikers to play 2 up top. I think it's more of the case of when we need a goal, if we need a goal, that's when we convert to the 2 at the top and we make the sacrifice at the back. I don't think it's a foreseeable thing in like open play, so to speak, where we go out to try and win the game. I don't. I think it's more to rescue a game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make perfect sense. So we'll go to a couple of the comments. So we've got Burton Albion on tour. Said hello, Big T's in the house. He says evening. And then we've got Brendan says hello, boys. How are we? We're all right, Brendan. Tom, Big Tom's in the house. And then Katie says, that's ridiculous. Are they going to investigate Baldy for pushing Rice? I think that was at the end of the game where the manager pushes Rice for whatever reason went on there. But it's not.
It looked to me like the manager came on to question the extra minute because the 6 minutes went up and we scored in the 7th minute. So it looked to me like he went on to question that, and Rice took offence to that, said something, and then that's where the exchanges happened. Yeah. I predicted 2-1 actually after extra time the other day, Doc. I'm just chucking that one out there. So, into the quarters. The tournament hasn't been that great. Yesterday's game wasn't that great. What changes are you making, Ash?
For me, pretty simple. Obviously, if the Bellingham situation evolves and he does get a suspension, then for me, Foden has to go in the 10. And obviously that's not a substitution, but then of course that would make the left space free for Anthony Gordon to go in. We needed something a little bit different on the left. Gordon came on for that game against Slovenia and created an opportunity within 5 minutes of being on. So that's a change that has to happen. With obviously the left back situation for me, I think Trippier has been our weak link on that left side. I'd put a Joe Gomez in or even a Konza. We really need something different on that left because we're being exposed on that left hand side. And I would obviously like to see Wharton an opportunity, but I think it'll be Mainu alongside Rice again. So there are two changes I would make. That's it then.
Doc, are we at a point now where Shaw's just got to play?
I believe so. I think the only problem with Shaw playing is because the change with Gehi, changing two of the back four is going to be a bit of a risk. But I generally think that in an ideal world, if we want to stop worrying about the bigger picture and go with balance on the pitch, I think now's the time. I think Konza comes in for Gehi because I think he's the most natural like-for-like swap to a Gehi because I don't think Dunk's your guy. I really don't. And a Gomez at centre-back, I'm not that convinced with him in there, to be honest. So for me, Konza comes in at centre-back. I think if Shaw's fit, we put Shaw on the left. I think we've taken him. He is the main man and he is left-footed. So I think we go with Shaw. I still think England's best chance in this competition is having a Gordon and a Saka running at these left-backs and these right-backs, pinning them back deep, wearing them out, and then on 60 minutes, taking them both off and bringing on an Eze and a Palmer to run at the same people with a little bit more directness. And I think that that's the way forward. I just generally feel like that. And I think that it needs to be transparent. You need to tell Gordon and Saka, I want you to run these boys into the ground. You're not playing 90 minutes. You don't have to conserve your energy. Go at them and go at them hard and literally wear them down and make room for your teammates because, like I said, football isn't about a starting 11. There's not one team in this competition that is winning games with an 11. They're all making changes, and the amount of subs that's coming on making impacts in every other game other than us is plain to see. And I just think that's the way forward, mate.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Doc, there. Katie says, let's be honest, though, Southgate will make one change, even though we need more. Generally, we're 1-0 down at half-time. He makes no changes. It's like he's being managed by Mr. Blobby. God, Mr. Blobby is probably the right thing. What do you make of him not making a change yesterday? Now, I listened to the pundits yesterday, and they said they would be surprised if there was 0 changes, and he made 0 changes. What do you make of that?
Well, half-time?
Yeah.
The problem with that is hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I was absolutely mortified at the time. But if Foden does his job properly and times his run, we're back in the game within 1 minute. So I do see two sides to the coin. I do understand the logic of Southgate not making the changes at half-time. And I don't think, careful, because I'm nearly sticking up for Southgate here and it's scaring me. But I don't think you had to make the changes at half-time. But it wasn't the lack of changes at half-time. It was the gap between half-time and the changes. There should have been a happy medium. He should have given them boys 10 minutes max to turn that game around. If Foden would have equalised, great, you're back on level terms. Now you don't have to make the change. Like, that's the way I see it. I don't think that the substitute had to happen at half time. I feel like they should have come 55 minutes, given people enough time to actually implement the game. Now, I'm all for bringing on these players for 3 minutes and getting the luck of the draw and giving them extra time. But, cats' lives run out and our lives will run out. And it will get to the point where that plan won't work every time. You've got to give players 25, 30 minutes to get into the game, to influence the game. Unless you're just handing out caps for the fun of it, bringing them on for the last couple of minutes so they can go home and go, well, I played my part. Thanks a lot.
Played your part in this abysmal run we're on. Ash, what did you make of him making no substitutions at half-time yesterday?
Well, I think, obviously, I disagree with Doc. I think, like I said, the substitutions had to be made. There was no there was no sort of ethic there. There was no cohesion within the whole team. Everybody was just the whole squad. From the forwards to the midfield to the defense, they were all shot. They were all over the place. Like honestly, like we had no middle link from defense to like midfield to attack. It was all we were trying to put the ball in, trying to be too precise with passing. We were trying to pass it. We were going sideways. We were going backwards, and it was just sort of a merry-go-round where we were just going around in circles, and then we had an opportunity to cross the ball. We'd go backwards. Like the subs had to be. You had to bring on. You had to bring on maybe a Cole Palmer, or potentially even somebody like an Ivan Toney just to change up the narrative, change up the dynamic of the game, because we just looked really poor in my eyes in the first half.
Yeah, I generally thought a nation that had 0 shots on goal was 0 shots on target in the first half against that mob yesterday. It's near enough. Well, it is embarrassing. There's no.
I was amazed not to see Gordon at some point yesterday. Absolutely amazed.
Yeah, I thought Gordon would have been in with a proper shout yesterday, but didn't even get on the pitch again. Mark, good evening, mate. He says, I think we should go with 2 forwards. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that idea at this point. Burton Albion on tour says, thoughts on putting Saka left back. Personally, I don't get it when we got Gomez on the bench. Guys, around Saka going left back, do you think he did that just to get Palmer on the pitch and not take Saka off for Palmer because he wanted to keep that sort of attacking dynamic going? Do you think that he brought Palmer on and swapped Saka so he could have them both on the field at the same time because he can't get them both in his starting 11?
Personally, I do think he done that, but I think more to the point of, I think because of the way the game was going, he took a risk with knowing full well that Saka was going to be bombing forward at every opportunity. So hypothetically, it was like going 3 at the back. He took a punt with Saka. Saka went in there, and for me, like I said, Saka was in there to basically play as a left winger, not a left back. I don't think he was there to defend as such. I think he was there to get down the left and get some crosses in on his left foot, which is something we don't do. But the most ironic thing is if that's what you want Saka to do, play him on the left-hand side, and then you can fit Palmer in anyway, because Foden's not doing it. So these are the weird things with Southgate. Trent, I'm really sorry, mate. You're not good enough to play right back unless we get an injury, and then I'm going to put Walker at left back, and now I trust you at right back. Saka, I don't want you on the left unless there's an injury, and then I want to play you on the left. It's like, he contradicts himself. He argues with himself. He beats him. Like, I'd love to see him in a debate in a room on his own, because I honestly think he would have a real intellectual conversation with himself. Like, it's mad, isn't it? It's just bizarre. Am I wrong though? Am I wrong?
You're not. Ash, question I've got for you, mate. Obviously, yesterday there was a lot of, not even yesterday, but even Saturday, even Friday, there was a lot of talks about Trippier not being fit enough to play, and that was going to be the change that he was going to make. Was you surprised to see Trippier in that starting 11 yesterday?
No, not particularly. I had a feeling that Trippier would start. As we already know, Gareth Southgate's got his favourites, and whether they are 100% fully fit or whether they're 60%, Gareth Southgate will always go with what he knows and what he wants to do. So no, I wasn't surprised by Trippier being in there, but I am surprised, like I say, maybe Joe Gomez not getting an opportunity there. Maybe having a little bit of logic behind it, thinking, oh yeah, if Trippier's not fully fit, we'll keep him back and bring him off the bench. Maybe he'll give us something different coming off off the bench as an impact player. No, I'd say I don't think he should have played.
Did you hear the rumor? Did you hear the interview? Like, I can't remember what channel it was on, but basically, someone interviewed Southgate's mum, and she said Southgate only changes his underpants once a week because he's scared of change.
You're killing me tonight, mate.
No, it's true, mate. It's true. I'm for real. No joke.
Are you sure he doesn't turn him inside out?
Well, like I said, I can't confirm or deny if he turns him inside out, Ash, but he only changes them once a week because he's scared of change.
Let's get. Yeah, they are shocking, Tom. You're absolutely right. Let me just let you know. Tom says, "Doc, your jokes are shocking." Yeah. Doc, you've put me on fault now, mate. Absolutely killed me. Saka. Let's discuss Saka because I thought he was quite poor again yesterday, and I think this has probably been his worst tournament I've seen him have.
You can't say that. The Arsenal police will be on to you. You can't say that.
Let the Arsenal police come. What have you made of Saka and his performances, Ash? Let's start with you on this one. I want to leave Doc till last.
The first game, I thought Saka was one of our best players. I wouldn't say like outstanding because, let's be real, we played a good 30 minutes and then we let Serbia attack us in that game and we were lucky to come away with anything. So that game, he was okay. Second game, poor. Third game, as all the players were, they were awful. And then yesterday, I've seen a little bit more from him, but I haven't been convinced by him at this tournament at all. I think he's, whether or not he's carrying, an injury over or, some sort of niggle, but he doesn't look the same Saka that, we've seen most of the season and especially last year.
Doc?
I think fans have got to really, really wake up and smell the coffee and understand that when you watch your national team, you are watching a collectiveness of many, many players from different teams. Because I can't help but think that people are just literally trying to dress Saka up because they're petrified that Palmer's going to take his spot in the team. And for me personally, it's a really lazy argument to say, oh, everyone's got an agenda with Saka. Listen, let's be honest, let's be real. The flack that he got when he missed a penalty was disgusting and unacceptable. The flack that the media gave in the friendly was unacceptable and inexcusable. But with regards to his performances on the pitch in these Euros, he hasn't been that great. The first game for me was his highlight, and he hasn't done much since. And even in that first game, it was only really the first half where he actually looked like the Saka that we all know and love at Arsenal. He's not beating his man. He's not running down the line and actually taking players on. He's not going past players and getting the ball. I'm not going to try and chuck him under the bus because, like I keep saying, I think he's a collective. I think there's 4 or 5 of them that aren't performing the way that they perform for their clubs. And he's just one of the 5. But this agenda that we can't criticise Saka, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And this agenda with he's been our best player every single game and he's been our best player at the Euros. I haven't seen it, man. I must be watching a different country. I must have been.
Doc, you're making me laugh, man. I'm coughing.
I actually wasn't trying to make you laugh. I was being deadly serious, to be honest. Yeah.
No, but do you know what? And that's the exact opinions that I've had since game 1. He had a great 13 minutes, and other than that, he's been pony ever since. Ever since he's been pony. And then we've spoken to Arsenal fans where Saka's been this, and that. Do you know what? Even Saturday, just leave him out for me because he has been absolutely jank, and I don't know. And this is what I mean by the inconsistencies. You'd have heard me talk about Saka's inconsistencies for the Premier League season. And they're showing it in this tournament. I think he's been absolutely dreadful, but then so's half of the squad. So
I'll blame Arteta. I said it before and I'll say it again. Arteta's man management of Saka throughout the year means towards the end of the season he falls off. And ultimately, when we go into these competitions, we get a half-fighted Saka. I promise you faithfully that Saka will go away after this, have a couple of weeks rest. And then maybe not the first game, second or third game, you'll see the flying Saka again. And then you'll think to yourself, where was you when we needed you for a month? And to me, it's the man management. He looks shattered, the boy. He looks shattered. And instead of thinking to yourself, our golden boy's being dropped, they should understand that he's being rested. I'm not suggesting take him out forever. All I'm saying is bringing on a Palmer that's still looking fresh isn't the end of the world. It's a month competition. 6-7 games in a month, and Saka has played so much football. He looks tired.
Yeah, he does. Bellingham comes up with his goal yesterday. What are we making of his goal, Ash?
As I did say, it's a bit of individual brilliance from Bellingham himself. For me, he had a pretty quiet game. But obviously, it's great for him to step up and work his magic. With a nice little tidy scissor kick overhead kick, which obviously got us back in the game and changed the whole narrative and changed. After the extra time, we sort of straight on the front foot and scored within 40 seconds. So, it's a great thing to score a brilliant goal, and what a time to score it. But like I say, I don't think he's been great the last couple of games himself either.
Doc?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I think I might have just froze for a second.
Yeah, something went funny there on my side as well. Getting back into it, Doc, did you think Bellingham was taking a bit of a gamble with that overhead kick yesterday? When I've looked at the goal so many times and I think he could have brought it down and just side-footed it, and he's done an overhead kick. Do you think it's a gamble? Especially we needed the goal, didn't we?
I think personally, this is the thing that you don't want to change from a Bellingham. That is his natural reactions. His reactions is to say, go for it. He's confident enough to go for it. And that is why he is a special player. That being said, I don't think he had a particularly good game. I think he's only really got in the number 10 role twice this tournament, and he scored 2 goals. But the one thing I would say, and the one thing that I'm hoping and praying is, you cannot start a fire without an ignition. And I'm hoping that ignition, that spark was that goal. I'm hoping that we've hit rock bottom now. And I'm hoping that team is sitting there right now, realizing how lucky they are, how fortunate they are that they're still in this competition. And I'm hoping that it's being used in the right way to motivate this lot. And that goal could be an iconic goal. If that goal has the right effect and sparks them into action, and we now go on to another final and maybe win it, it's going to be that goal that you're going to remember for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm sort of hoping that same. I know Harry Kane's was an header, but it wasn't as great as Bellingham's goal. But I just think hopefully that'll spark him into a bit of action as well, because he ain't been very great. Tom says, who's your favourites for the tournament? We will touch on that just quickly. Ash, who's your favourites?
I've said Germany for over 2.5 months. I'm going to stick with Germany.
You're only saying that because you got in the sweepstake. You got money on it.
Doc?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's going to be Germany or Spain. The winners of that one is going to go on to the final. I can probably see him playing Austria in the final. And I still think that in the...
Did you say Austria in the final?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I heard right.
Why is that?
No, I wanted to make sure I heard right and I wasn't daydreaming or something.
No. Excuse me. No, I generally think that they've been like the standout performers for this competition. I think they're really, really organised. I don't think they'll fear England. And I honestly think that they'll be the ones that will, if they're going to be the ones on our side that's going to take us out. They're the ones that worry me. The only exception to the rule is if Turkey can do us a favour. Turkey might be able to take them out, and then we might be able to get past Turkey. But if we end up playing Austria, I think Austria will rip us one. So, like I said, for me, Austria are looking like the favourites of making the final from our side. Then on the other side, you're looking at Spain or Germany, the winners of that. I think it's pros and cons. I think Spain is playing a better football, but I think Germany are the home nation, and ultimately they've got the home support. They're used to these dodgy pitches that seem to be cutting up left, right, and centre. They're used to the heat and the occasion. We shall see. And
the thunderstorms and whatever else that comes with it. Katie says, beat. When the Roadrunner flattens England on Saturday, I have zero confidence in the team with the way they are playing and performing. Mark says, I think he has done that to make a statement. That was the Bellingham goal. And then Katie goes on to say, I love Big P's cheeky little chops when he's thinking, did Doc say Austria? I generally wasn't expecting Austria to come out of his mouth.
Why not?
I just wasn't. For me, Spain look my favourites, but I also messaged Doc on Saturday and said, how good did Switzerland look? Last 10 minutes of the show. Let's just move on to Saturday. We play 5 o'clock Saturday. We got Switzerland. what do you think of our chances there then, Ash?
Again, as you just stated, Switzerland have stood out for me in the last couple of games. When I've watched Switzerland, that they work hard out of possession, hard. Obviously, they work well as a team. Like Xhaka absolutely dictates that midfield. Like he's been incredible this tournament for me. But a standout player from what I've seen from from Switzerland, and like they've been solid, really solid defensively. And the three up front as well, Vargas and Bolo, they've all worked well together up top and cause teams problems when they get in behind the lines.
Yeah, and Bolo for me it isn't Bolo, isn't it? You're saying you pronounce it. Yeah, he looked good the other day. I must admit, he's looked good all tournament. Doc, what do you make of our chances Saturday, mate? Switzerland, not going to be an easy game, is it?
It's one of them ones, isn't it? It really is one of them ones. We just don't know what England we're going to get. Now, the one thing we do know is under Southgate, we're going to be very defensive. So if we have a Southgate performance, then we'll probably get turned over. But if we have an England performance that we know that we've got in there, we know we've got the players that are capable of doing it. And like I said, if that spark has ignited something in them and they've got that fire in the belly and they realise how close they were and they play the freely way that we expect them to play, then I generally think that we'll turn them over, and I generally think we can turn a few other teams over along the way. But it's all down to the players now, and I honestly think that the fans deserve a performance, especially all them fans that have been out there singing, chanting, spending their hard-earned money. I generally think these boys deserve to give them a big performance. So hopefully it will be coming.
Yeah, I think we know what England we're going to get, the same England that we've had for the last 4 games. I just think it's whether we can outscore Switzerland, and I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Amateur Footballer says, are we looking at a tournament football becoming more strategic rather than entertaining? Good question. Doc?
For me personally, I think it's always been like that. I think that it's 7 games, isn't it, to win the Euros? Am I right? 7 games to win it?
Yeah.
So I think that, it is one of them ones. It is a bit like, the equivalent of our FA Cups and our Carling Cups. Teams don't really go at it, do they? They're normally very, very cautious when the 2 big teams play each other. You've seen that this year. And I just think that it's like 2 heavyweights that want to go toe to toe, but they don't want to throw that big punch, and they want to jab their way through and win on points. So I do think it is strategic. Yes, I do think that, but I also think that players' performance, and I just is the be all and end all. Players aren't pieces of a chessboard where you can move them strategically. They are still human beings. They still have natural reactions. You've seen that with the Bellingham goal. And for me, these players need to play freely, and they need to be able to express themselves without worrying about consequence, and not worry about, oh, well, if I do this, I'm going to get told off, like you're still at school. Let these players play freely. Let them do what we know they can do. And I generally believe that we'll come off on the right side of it. But if we keep making them play with shackles, then we're always going to be looking like a team that is, underperforming and being held back.
Ash?
Yeah, I think Dog's got a spot on. I think the last 3 tournaments in the Euros, really, I'd say that from what I've watched, have all been sort of strategic tournaments. You go back to, obviously, Portugal themselves. They weren't the most entertaining of Euros, and there's not really teams that stood out for me. And then the last really sort of tournament I could say that stood out where a team actually played really entertaining football was that Spain team in 2012. But other than that, I think it's all strategy now in these competitions.
I'll go back as far as 1996, where for me, was the last time we had a tactical manager that made changes. And I'll go back to 1996. We lost the first game, Venables changed the formation. We won the second game, Venables changed the formation. We absolutely spanked Holland 4-1 and outplayed them from the get-go, and Venables changed the formation. It was strategic then, and it's still strategic now. And the only difference is there's a lot of managers now that's doing it, and all of the smaller countries. And before anyone says, oh, that's disrespectful calling them the smaller country. No, it's not. They are smaller countries. They have a smaller capacity than the rest of us. I'm not talking footballing ability. Even them are picking up managers now and taking on managers like Austria have done with, obviously, Ranić, that can bring that to the table now. So they're all doing it. It's the way the football is now. I think it's the changing of the guards now. Every single manager now, it's not about picking a manager just on name. It's about picking a manager that can maneuver his way through competitions or leagues or styles of play. And for me, it's becoming the norm now,
Yeah. Ash, on Saturday, where do you see Switzerland posing us their most threat? Where do you see them threatening us the most?
Well, for me, I personally say it all depends for me on who starts in that midfield. If it continues with Mainu and Rice, I'd obviously have a lot more confidence. But for me, I think the main threat is in them full-back positions. From the last two games I've watched, with Trippier and Walker playing as full-backs, have looked really exposed. And like I say, I watched Switzerland against Italy, a very below par Italy team, but still, that Switzerland team looked very dangerous going down them wings, and if they can do that to them, for me, you've probably got some very good and informed fullbacks themselves. If they can do it to them, they can certainly do it to us.
Yeah, Doc, do you know too much about Switzerland? Have you been watching their games, or?
I think it's going to come through the middle, mate. I think they're going to literally not fear us, and I think that they're going to be moving the ball fast, attacking down the wings. But ultimately, you've got Stones that is there to protect Walker, which takes him out of the natural central role. Guéhi's there to protect Trippier. And because we've got two centre-backs that are having to protect these wing-backs, or right back or left back, whichever way you want to dress it up, I think that is going to open up the hole between Guéhi and Stones. And I think that could be the problem. A bit like the goal that we conceded yesterday. I think that they're going to look at that, and I think they're going to see that is the way forward.
I think the issue we got, mate, is there is no Guéhi, is there? So it's another new partnership, Stones. And who do you think replaces Guéhi? Would you go with a Konza or a Gomez? Well, it's only going to be one of them two, I think. But what one do you think it'll be?
I think Plan A, Southgate has already shown his cards. He played Konza. He's brought Konza on in the game yesterday. He's played Konza in the friendlies. He doesn't seem to favour Dunk that much. It was like he was playing Dunk or Guéhi and trying to work out which one would be his first choice. And for me, he sees them as a similar centre-back. And Guéhi's won and got the nod. And for me, now it'll be Konza that comes in. I don't even think that there's a second choice. I think it's Konza, or Konza.
Ash?
Yeah, I've been an advocate for Gomez to play on the left, but I don't trust Gomez in that centre-back role. I think it has to be Konza for me. Personally, I generally think that Konza offers a lot more. Gomez is very suspect in terms of when I've seen him play at centre back for Liverpool, he does not look up for the fight for me personally.
Yeah. Katie's got us a question. Last question of the night. I've got a question for you all. Please, do you think Southgate gets the chop or he leaves on his own accord after the Euros? PS, I ain't asked to Breeze because he wants to be on Southgate's Christmas card list. Ha 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 ha. Doc, we'll start with you on this one. Do you think he gets the chop or do you think he walks?
He doesn't warrant the sack. Let's be honest. He doesn't warrant the sack. You've stayed loyal to the man. As far as I'm concerned, he wins it. He walks with his head held high. He loses it. He walks, and he says that he can't take the team forward anymore. I think he's already openly told you this in his interview, that he expects the only way that he can live up to what he should have lived up to is to deliver a trophy. He's here to win it. If he don't win it, he walks. If he does win it, he still walks, and he holds his head out high, knowing full well that he's gone down as officially not only the most successful English manager in our generation, but a winner as well. And I think that's the only outcome. But he doesn't get sacked, because if we were going to sack him, it should have happened 3 years ago.
Ronaldo's just missed a penalty, by the way. Ash.
No, I can only see him walking. Like Doc said, I think in terms of what he's brought in the 8 years, in terms of how he's brought the team together, fair play and all. Like there was a massive divide between players back in the early thousands, but now, like I generally say that. It's a tough thing to say. I think to a certain degree, in terms of the unity of the squad, he's leaving them in a better place. But in terms of with the squad that he's had capable of being able to win competitions, I think effectively he's left us in a worse place than we were.
Yeah, I think he'll walk. I don't think he gets a sack. I agree with both of you there. The amateur footballer says, who's nicking more of a living, Martinez or Southgate? I'm going to go with Southgate on this one.
Definitely Southgate.
Southgate, yeah.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you, Ash, for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Ash.
And Doc, we've got some exciting news, I hear.
Yes, we have got some exciting news. So I did tease some of you last week, and I did say that, we've got some news, and I did tease you to say that we were going to break the news last week. And then I said, I'm going to leave you hanging for a week. Some of you may be aware, some of you may not be aware. This channel is called The Amateur Footballer. Now, me and Big P have had the perfect opportunity for us, as new to the game and new to the podcasting world, of working with an experienced podcaster behind the scenes that has been working with us and has ultimately been acting as a manager. And not only has he been acting as a manager on our behalf, he's also given us the opportunity to use his platform. And we'll both be forever grateful for that. And we speak to him and we hold him in our highest regards for the opportunity. However, me and Big P have decided that now is the time for us to break off and set up our own channel and stand on our own 2 feet. So we have come up with a new podcast channel that will be coming to you real soon at the end of the Euros. We've got the 14th of August in mind, I believe it is, Big P, is that right?
12th of August.
12th of August, sorry. 12th of August is the date we've got in time. You may see the channel previewing just before that, but be watchful. And if you see Prime Premier League Podcast, the Prime Premier League Podcast is the name that me and P have chosen, and that is a new podcast coming to you where me and P are going to be going off on our own and trying to set up our own brand, our own label, and our own channel. And like I said, it's before anyone thinks anything's happened behind the scenes. That's not the case at all. We are all on good terms, and we will forever be on good terms. It's just the fact that we was loaned a channel, and now with the experience that we've gained, we want to be able to have a little bit more freedom to be able to come on a little bit more freely and come on a little bit more often, and go in a direction that we're ready to do now, I believe. So yeah, there's your breaking news.
Cheers, Doc. Spot on. I echo the words, mate. And again, a massive thank you to the Amateur Footballer. We all know who he is, for allowing us to express ourselves and get the confidence. And I'm looking forward to our new chapter, mate.
Me too, mate. Me too.
But thank you for watching, everyone. And it's a good night from us.